is Focus with Jack Caudill.
Good evening, I'm Jack Caudill. Welcome to this month's edition of Focus. This month we're talking about the new Summit Arena at the Monument, set to open soon, a big event. It's coming up here in Rapid City. 3 guests with us tonight to talk about that. Craig Baltzer, he is the Monument Executive Director. Andrew Corson is the Project Manager for Mortenson Construction. And Joe Dyer is the Architect and Designer. He is with the firm Perkins and Will. A little history before we go. Back in June of 2018, 65% of voters in Rapid City said yes to a new arena at the Rushmore Plaza Civic Center, now known as the Monument. Now, got through the design process on the 250,000 square foot, $130 million arena. Construction started. They are now putting the finishing touches on the new arena. It is set for the first event on October 16th when Pitbull comes to town. Craig Baltzer, we're going to start with you getting that. It's been a long, involved process. How exciting is it for you that we're getting this close to opening this thing up?
I mean, we're right on the edge. I mean, of course, there's some checklist, punch lists to do and finish things up. I'll let Andrew talk about that. But we are on the edge, and now the keys are about ready to be turned to us, and all the pressure is going to be on us now to go and run the thing and have a little bit of fun with it. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's been a long time coming. I've had a lot of construction meetings. I don't know what I'm going to do with half my day going forward, but no, it's going to be good.
Now, Andrew Corson is the project manager for Mortenson Construction. Been a long, huge project for you guys. What's it feel like for you? You're getting to the end here.
There's a tremendous amount of excitement for our team as well. You know, like you said, it's been a long road. You know, a little under 2 years that our team's been here in Rapid City, building this new arena. Like Craig said, a lot of finishing touches going on right now, a little bit of punch list and things like that to do over the next few weeks before that Pitbull event. But our team is tremendously excited, and it's been an incredibly rewarding experience for our team here to be a part of this monumental project.
And Joe Dyer is the architect and designer from Perkins and Will. You laid this thing all out on paper, or probably not on paper these days, but what's it like for you to finally see the vision come to life?
Yeah, like you said, see the vision come to life. So it's very exciting to see that. We actually do start with pen to paper, and you actually then bring that into the computer, design the building, and then actually start to see that being constructed. I always tell my team it's always amazing when you go out there and you get to see the building actually come to life and the scale of the building. So you're drawing it kind of small scale to see that actually come to life, and the size of it and the capacity just really kind of brings it home for us, and a lot of excitement for us as well.
Now, Craig, let's go back to the beginning for a minute. The Barnett Arena has served the area well for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. Why did we need a new arena?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. One of the problems with Barnett Arena was ADA compliancy. It was built before ADA codes, and it had never been renovated because the second you put a hammer to it, you've got to catch up with ADA, and it was very expensive to catch up with ADA, so it was never renovated. And when we were under a contract from a previous mayor that we have to meet up with ADA compliancy in that building, that ended up being a $30 million project. That $30 million project would give you an old-fashioned arena that doesn't really fit shows or anything like that, but it'll be ADA compliant. That part about fitting shows was also a problem. The floor length, the floor width, the ceiling height, the loading dock situation didn't work for most of the modern touring shows out there. They're designing for a specific building and not a basketball building that was built in 1977. So that's where the idea came from. And it was actually before my time, because there was an effort to build a new building prior to me getting here, right as I was getting here. And then we put this effort forward after that.
So looking at the issues you had with the old one, what vision do you have? What did you want to see in the new arena there?
Well, I'm going to tell you, these kind of dimensions meant a lot to shows. Shows are designing to fit the average arena. The average arena has a floor that's 200 by 85. That's what we got in the new building. We weren't close with the Barnett. Ceiling height, minimum height, 65. Some shows were requiring 75 feet. We're at 75 feet from floor to low steel. Loading docks, these shows are bringing in, back in Elvis Presley days, he was bringing one semi-truck. Bringing in 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 semi-trucks in some of these shows coming in. So you have to unload multiple trucks at one time. You can't unload one truck at a time and still do a show in that same day. So these are some of the things that we needed to build into the building to enter ourselves into a competitive world to other arenas and other cities.
How about the design process? What goes into it? Once you get the approval, the city says, okay, let's build it. How do you decide what direction to go.
So as an operator, we had some very important ideas that we wanted to make sure got into the building. And that's why it's been great working with this architect who incorporated all of our ideas into this building and didn't take architectural license and try to change that and have their own agenda. They stuck with our agenda 100%. All those items that we promised would be in this building are in this building. Not to mention the good partnership we had with the three of them, including Mortenson, because it took all of us to figure out how to get all of it into budget. We had these important features to the building that we needed to get into the budget, and by working hard with these groups, and these guys have been tremendous in that, we were able to get all those items into the building. And that meant an extra set of locker rooms so we can do larger basketball tournaments. That meant an additional premium area that's good for our sales and good for that customer. But also widening the loading dock so we can turn trucks around, 53-foot semi-trucks around, instead of backing up from a long ways away, that kind of a thing. We got all those ad alternates into the building, and it's very exciting.
So Joe, once the city decides and these guys decide, here's what we want to put in, what's the process once it goes to you to come up with the design that fits what they want?
We obviously sit down with the client and the operations team and just really understand what are those programmatic challenges that you're dealing with today and how can we solve those in this new building, and just really understanding those key dimensions that we're looking for, and from our experience in other venues and understanding of the market, how do we actually design a facility around that to kind of meet those key requirements, the 75-foot truss height for rigging capacity, the larger loading dock, the event floor that is, as Craig mentioned, 85 by 200, which then can also be expanded for larger floor shows, trade shows, things of that nature. And we try to design those around those so that when those traveling shows do come in, they've got max flexibility to kind of set up the shows as they need to.
How much is this model after work you've done in other arenas?
It's very similar from a start point. You start with 200 by 85, and then from there you get some licenses to kind of design around that. We're really trying to optimize the viewing sight lines for patrons, and then also incorporating just any of those operational pieces, really understanding your site conditions from an ingress perspective, egress, making sure you're hitting all your life safety components. But things like that is what really kind of factor into the design process.
Now, Andrew, now it comes to you guys. You guys have to put together a pretty huge team for this big of a project. What goes into putting a team like that together, deciding who's going to do what?
So we look at it and structure our team. We kind of started, okay, who are going to be our project leaders, figure out who has the experience, the right place to serve the project well. Then we start building from there. We'll divide our team up into different components between the enclosure team, the structure team, interiors, the mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems. We build out our team that way. Each one of those component teams operates under those project leaders. And then under those component teams, we've got all of our trade partners, which we have a tremendous amount of trade partners on the project that are all responsible for their individual piece. Our plumbing trade partner, mechanical, the steel fabricator, the steel erector, across the board. So every part of the job, and then we have a tremendous amount of meetings, really is throughout the project to coordinate all of it, to make sure that everybody knows exactly what the plan is and what's happening on a day-to-day basis, so we can put the work in correctly per the schedule and safely.
Now, in a lot of businesses, it's been a challenge to get enough people, enough workers. Has that been a challenge on this project? That
has been something, I think, since the beginning of this project. The big thing that has changed the world over the past 22 months is clearly COVID and the impacts that's had to the supply chain and the labor force that's out there. We have had some of those challenges. We've had to work again with our trade partners and just finding the right people to put the work in place. But our trade partners and the craft workers have been tremendous on the project to continue to push through and continue to put in a lot of hours, a lot of difficult days, working hard to find the right people to put the work in place. So we have had some of those challenges, but we've been able to meet those head on.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll continue our look at the Summit Arena at the Monument when we come back with this month's edition of Focus. I'm Jack Caudill. Welcome back to this month's edition of Focus. We are talking about the new Summit Arena at the Monument, set to open here on October 16th. Andrew Corson is the project manager for Mortenson Construction. Obviously a big project. What kind of challenges are there in building something like this while the rest of the facility is still up and running?
Oh, there's lots of them. Really, it comes down to we want to make sure that whatever we're doing doesn't affect Craig and his team and their operations on a day-to-day basis. So it's a lot of challenges that come up with making sure we can keep access to parking lots, making sure we can keep access to entrances, making sure that when we're doing work, it doesn't affect an event. Recently we had some events going on in the Barnett Arena while we were still finishing construction. We had to make sure that we could provide access to bathrooms, to concessions that they would typically be able to use, and make sure that those are usable and that the facility functions in the way it was intended to. So that really comes down to a lot of coordination, again, a lot of conversations with Craig and his team on those events. We start planning the same, they start planning those events months and months in advance. We're usually, a month before that, we're starting to have a conversation with them of what does that event look like? What do you need from us? When do we need to be out of the loading dock area so that the show can come in and load in? Because we have kind of a shared loading area there between the new arena and Barnett Arena. So a lot of those challenges are really what we're dealing with day in and day out, and having those conversations with the monument team.
And what kind of, as far as looking, I've lost my thought here for a second. Looking at moving forward here, how have things gone? Has construction gone smoothly? Have you been able to stick with the timelines?
Yeah, we've been able to hit the finish date that we're going to hit this week here is the same finish date that we started with 22 months ago. We've been, construction has moved pretty smoothly. We've had some things that went a little bit faster, some things that went a little bit slower, but overall we've maintained that original schedule. No real concerns, even with some of the impacts from COVID and the supply chain issues. We really had an aggressive stance when that first hit to go ahead and really attack those supply chain issues. And we were able to work with Craig and his team as well to help out with some of those. So, overall, the schedule has gone pretty smoothly, and we've been able to hit all the critical dates.
All right. Joe Dyer is the architect and designer with Perkins and Will. How much did you have to take that into account when you guys are designing this, that it has to be built while the rest of the facility is still going?
It actually helps a ton knowing that. It really starts with the site placement of the building. So understanding that, hey, where are the key exit points of the existing facility? We want to make sure we're not blocking those, or if we are, it's factored into the design process of the new facility. So kind of site placement of the building, and then just an understanding of how many shows are actually operating so that we're ideally placing everything there. That's really kind of how we iron that out.
As the architect on this, what do you want people to see? What do you want people to notice when they first come into this building?
I think come in, see that grand entrance, kind of walk up those stairs, see the public club access, and then kind of step into that bowl and just be in awe of the space and just kind of see the scale of what's being provided here. And then to really kind of start to see all the shows that get to come in. Be excited when your favorite concert can actually come to Rapid City and actually play. I just want them to be excited when they actually get to experience the facility overall.
Now, Craig, as far as people that have been coming to the Barnett Arena for years and years, decades, a lot of them, what's the main thing that you think they're going to take away? What are they going to notice first about the new building over there?
Well, it's definitely dimensions and the size of it. This is a true, 10,000 plus seat venue. And it has those high ceilings and it has all of that. So there's definitely a size figure. When you go to another city and go to an arena there, that's more of what you're going to see compared to what the Barnett Arena was. The dimensions are incredibly big, but you're also going to see a higher end finish, more modern technology in the building. All of those kinds of things are going to go with this building. To be really honest with you, the shows themselves are probably going to notice equally as much of a difference as the audience is going to. Remember, the shows are the ones that rent the building from us, so they're our primary customer coming in, and we're going to treat them like a customer and do things right for them. So we built this building both right for the audience and right for the shows coming in.
Now, some of the basics that people will want to know: bathrooms. There are more of them there. Concession stands. Are there more of them over in the new place?
Right. And so the old way of building bathrooms in Rapid City, South Dakota, in an arena was put one large men's and women's on one side and one large men's and women's on the other side. And that's not what this is. A bigger building than that. The concourse is quite a bit of distance around it. We want people to move around, but there's a bathroom, food and drink, bathroom, food and drink. all the way around. So there's a bathroom near every section of seating that's in there. And there's also different food offerings. So as you're walking through, you're going to see maybe our carvery, which is carved meat sandwiches and that kind of stuff. And then you might have the big cheesy, and you might have Asian fusion. You might have barbecue in the next one. And you might find one that has hot dogs and nachos, like a normal concession stand. But the whole idea is get people to move around, offer different things to them, and not always have the same old every time you go to the arena.
Now, in your business, revenue streams have changed over the years. Suites are more important now. Box is more important now. Luxury box is more important. How are you guys set up for that?
Yeah, we made sure that we built that. We did a lot of research into this, and if you see modern arenas today, you see the Target Center, for example, they have about half as number of suites that they used to have. They're carving them out. The old building I used to operate in Tampa, Florida, had 84 suites. They're down to about 42 right now. And why is everybody getting rid of their suites? Well, the trend in the world of entertainment these days is that nobody wants to go to an event and be locked in a room with their 10 best friends. They want to feel like they're part of the crowd. So we did not build any suites in this building. We built premium areas that are open to the crowd, feel like you're part of the crowd, yet you get the high-end service and the high-end things that you would get in a suite with it. So people can mingle. We see this in hockey all the time. Our suite owners are often in the back corridor making business deals or making connections and making friends with other suite owners. Give them a place to mingle, let them mingle together. And so we have these large premium areas that we've built, actually 3 different areas in the building.
Now, people probably also noticed, I had a chance to be down there last week, just looks beautiful down there. How about tech? Scoreboards, audio, sound, that kind of stuff.
So
how are we set up better than you were before?
Yes, and we did. We upgraded to a very modern center-hung scoreboard system that's going to have gigantic big screens that can be viewed anywhere, hung like a chandelier in the middle of the building, and that on itself will also have 2 ribbon boards on it. But we also have a horseshoe ribbon board going around the horseshoe of the building like that. And these things are important. These things are important for advertising, for our sponsors, and things like this. This is how we can pay for our future. Our naming rights sponsor, the Monument Health, has been incredible, great partner, and we have several founding sponsors that are now not just part of this new arena, part of the whole complex now that we didn't have before without the new arena. So we are not going to get any more funding to operate the building, and these buildings are owned by governments because they operate in the whole. So how are we going to afford it? That's how we're going to afford it. It's playing in a bigger game in sponsorships and premium seating and that kind of a thing.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll wrap up our look at the Summit Arena at the Monument when we return with this month's edition of Focus. I'm Jack Caudill. Welcome back to this month's edition of Focus. This month we're talking about the new Summit Arena at the Monument, and Joe Dyer is the architect and designer from Perkins & Will. A lot of things people will notice right away when they come in there that's different before. What are some of the things that are there that people won't see that are also very important in what you've built into this place?
I think a lot of that you may not see is the back of house operations component, the loading dock size, the number of dock bays, as Craig mentioned earlier, able to kind of get shows in and out. So it's a lot of that to kind of get those repeat customers on the show side is how quickly can they set up for a show and tear down. So kind of making sure operationally we can get that turnover as fast as possible. Then also just your back of house spaces, the number of locker rooms, and a lot of people are going to get to experience some of the hospitality suites, commissary area. So it's really kind of an operational driven piece that you don't get to see, but that's kind of what really makes the building run and kind of the heartbeat of the building itself.
How much do you guys try to build energy efficiency into places that maybe they didn't have in the old one?
Extremely important, and on this project in particular, tapping into the central utility plant that was there existing. So a very efficient way to power the building, to get hot water, cold water into the building. So it was a very sustainable design solution at the very beginning of the project, and was really kind of pushed by the Rushmore team to make sure that got integrated. It was one of the first key decisions for the project.
Andrew Corson is the project manager for Mortenson Construction. We're down here the last couple of weeks. What are the kind of finishing things that you guys have got to get done before they're ready to open the doors?
So a lot of what we're doing right now is testing and inspections. For the most part, the building is complete. You were there a week or so ago. Everything's kind of ready to go. It's a lot of testing fire alarm systems, having final inspections with the city inspectors, just making sure everything's in and correct. Joe and his team walking through, double checking everything. Craig and his team walking through, just making sure that we've done everything correctly. And then, at that point, it'll be kind of that final sign-off from the city. And then we'll hand the keys over to Craig and his team.
Now, you said one of the things you were excited about, a lot of local people working on this project.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right now we're at, a little over 70% of the job that's been completed by local trade partners, local craftspeople. And that's something, we was one of our big goals when we started, is we wanted to make sure this was a job that was built by Rapid City. And we've been able to achieve that, and the craftspeople out here have been tremendous. They've put a tremendous product in place that I think as people get out there and get into the arena and go to that first Pitbull show or some of those subsequent shows, that they'll see the quality of work that was put in place by Rapid City.
Craig Baltzer is the executive director of the monument. And how does having this arena change the whole way you guys are doing business down there?
Well, it puts us in a little bit bigger game. I mean, when you're me and one of the other managers down there, we do most of the large touring booking and things like that. It puts us in a whole different game. When you have a show, I won't mention the artist, but this happened many, many times, playing Sioux Falls and playing Billings, driving through our town, but not stopping in our building because they didn't fit into our building. Physically couldn't fit their show into the building. Or another show, it might have been, you don't quite have enough seats for what I want to do, and that kind of a thing. So it does put us in a bigger game. And there's a good routing when you talk about going from Sioux Falls. Shows like to travel about 3 to 4 or 5 hours from each other, from city to city to city. Getting 8, 10, 12 hours, that's too far. They can't make it because they have to make it to the next city the day after that, right? So 3 to 5 hours is what they want to travel. Well, what's the distance between us and Sioux Falls? What's the distance between us and Billings? What's the distance between us and Denver? We're actually in a pretty good routing spot. So this made all the sense. We know those shows were passing through. We are going to be able to capture some of them now.
One of the questions I get asked, what happens to the old arena now?
Oh, we're going to keep using that arena. We're just not going to use it as an arena. As you know, we changed the name to Field House. We're not going to use all that upper deck seating over there. That's going to get closed off and mothballed. It would be storage, I guess, for the rest of us. But that floor and the seating off the floor, the telescopic seating off the floor, we can still hold a basketball game. Might be an early round of a tournament in there. We can do trade shows in there. We can do all kinds of different things. And that's important because you have your new big arena. You want to kind of save it for the large audience participating events and not put a trade show in there all weekend and then have to pass on a concert or something. So it should help us open doors for the new arena to be able to use that space like additional floor space.
What kind of projections do you have for how long the new arena is viable for?
It's going to be viable for, and certainly for 30 years. My guess is just like Barnett Arena, that would probably round up into 40s and all that. In our world, in the arena world right now, building bigger is not the thing. It's been this way for more than 10 years, 10, 15 years. Building bigger is not the trend. Artists do not want to be in a gigantic building and look at half-empty seats because they can only fill half of it. What they want to do is have the right size venue. And this building's flexible. We can size it down and size it up. For Rapid City, where we're at right now, this is going to last us a long time.
I guess got a few seconds to go here. What's your capacity range, depending on configurations down there?
Depending on configuration, in total, if we're doing in the round event, we can do about 11,300. That's not the important number to me. The important number to me was how much in the end stage configuration. The end stage 180, we can do 10,200. I think with Pitbull, we're at 10,500 because we were able to sell alongside the stage a little bit. So around 10.5 is about where we're at in an end stage configuration.
All right, looking forward to it. October 16th, Craig Baltzer, Andrew Corson, and Joe Dyer. Thank you guys for coming, and excited to see the first event coming down there on October 16th.
Thank you.
That'll do it. All right, that'll do it for us for this month's edition of Focus. Let's see you on the first Sunday night.